Now, did you ever tell Administrator or Internal Affairs that Miss Fesahai had contacted you to make sure that you knew who the media contact was?
Yes, she wanted to know who our public information officer was.
Okay. That's PIO?
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't remember if that came directly from her to me or through Mr. Fuchs. I don't remember.
Judge, can you turn to page 505? That's in the same exhibit there.
Can we get a beginning page so that we know what we're looking at and then go to 505?
Sure. That's a great question. 504 is the beginning of that page.
Okay, so there's 504. Can you read that, Ms. Novak? Or should I, I
Yes.
can make it bigger.
I can read it. The same,
Okay.
I think it's the same form we were just on.
Is that the same is it the same, a different interviewer or the same one?
It says 5/28, and I believe that's what the last date was you just showed me.
Okay.
Right.
This may be the same document in a different place in the thing, but can you look at A14, please, then?
814, I thought you said 505 before.
Yeah, no, A as an answer 14. A as an
Oh,
answer
okay,
14.
all right, I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. Okay. All right, let me make this a little bigger since we're on these weird pages that are a little hard to see. Oh no, that went the wrong way. Okay, is that easier?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. And I'm going to read halfway down there. It says, I called Gusky back, or he called me. I think I called him back. And I said, do you have the names? I need the names of the two guys. Did you have an emergency count? Are you doing one? And did we lock down? And nobody leaving. Keep the staff there, question mark. Did I read that right?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess as a preliminary question, do you believe that this is a statement that you gave, that these are your words?
I'm going to object at this point in time. I thought we had an agreement before this hearing even started that this was accurate.
I'm gonna allow whatever. Was this a verbatim statement, Ms. Novak?
I have no idea. I would have asked him about those things because per protocol and policy, those are the things that need to happen right after an escape.
Okay. So then I'm going to just direct you up above to A13. You should be able to see that here. And it says, you say that Ms. Hovey called you back probably a couple minutes later, and that said that she had dropped the phone. She was trying to find it. So I was able to notify her also. And then do you see, it says, Magda asked that I just go to her directly from that point on. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Is that what happened?
Again, I'm going to object to this because it's contrary to the stipulation that the parties entered into before this hearing. And had I known they were going to attack the accuracy of this, I would have had the actual audio recordings of her saying these same things. They checked the accuracy of these.
I get it.
I'm not trying to attack
that. I'm not trying to attack whether or not this is verbatim. Now that we've got clear from her whether she doesn't know that it's verbatim or not, that's fine. I'm moving on, and I'm not asserting that for the whether or not this is what she said. I'm trying to figure out if this happened. That's the distinction there. Is that okay? Will you withdraw that objection on that grounds?
Let's just move on. You got an objection. Okay. I just need to get done with this. Go ahead.
Okay. So it says that Miss Fesai asked you to go to her directly from that point on, right?
Yes, it says that.
Okay. And then going again below, I just wanted to point or be clear. It says, okay, and then it says you talked to her about 2 other times after that. Is that right?
I don't remember, but
Okay, and that's at the end of answer 14 there where it says public information officer. She told me to figure out who my PIO was going to be.
oh, yes, that's
Okay.
accurate. Yeah.
Were there any other conversations that you were having directly with Miss Fesai on that day?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, but you were getting communications from her, from Mr. Fuchs, right?
Yes.
Okay, now I got it. After the escape, did you have any conversations with Secretary Carr?
No,
Okay.
Should I can stop sharing?
Yes, please. How about Chrissy Preston?
I was gonna say, I believe I sent him an email, but I didn't have any verbal conversations with him.
Okay.
Chrissy Preston, no. I don't believe so. Well, yes, right after the escape, when Internal Affairs was sent to the institution to start doing interviews with employees,
Mm-hmm.
she had stopped in to say she was there and what she was gonna be doing, and we had some brief conversations.
Okay. Why did you send Secretary Carr email during the investigation?
Because through the line of questioning that I was receiving, I believed that the administration or the investigators were trying to say that I should have had a crystal ball. I should have known that Holly Zimdahl was planning an escape with inmates and I should have put her out on leave. I should have known that somehow. And I wanted to relay to the secretary, because he's the head of the department, that I shared all the knowledge I had to put her out. I shared with my supervisor. He had the same knowledge that I had about the evidence we gathered on her. And I just felt that Internal Affairs was dismissing that. I felt they weren't going to look at Doug Percy at all. And I thought he should know that. I thought it was relevant.
Okay. And so you brought up the issue with Doug Percy, and you brought up the issue with the lack of support. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
Okay. Did Mr. Carr ever respond to you?
no,
Did anybody from the Department of Corrections respond to you?
no,
Okay. And not Chrissy Preston either?
I don't believe so. No,
Okay. Did anybody from Internal Affairs ask you about your conversations with Doug Percy?
I don't know if they specifically asked that, but I reported it in my interview. At
To
least,
Internal Affairs.
yeah, at least once, probably a couple times.
Okay. And do you know if Internal Affairs ever talked to Doug Percy at all?
I don't know.
Okay. there we go. Fine. So this letter that you sent to Carr, that occurred on May 3rd. Were you, had you been walked out at that time?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so but the first time, but not the second time. Is that right?
I don't know what you mean.
You were sure you were interviewed. The email to Carr, was that in between the two times that you were interviewed as a subject?
Yeah, it had to be in between, yes.
Okay. And did you direct, while you were leading the response on the escape, did you direct one of your subordinates to notify the various offices that need to be notified?
I directed Luke Weber when he got to the institution to check and make sure that had been done. For policy, it should have been done, like I said, by the third shift captain, highest ranking
I
person.
got it.
And the control
Okay.
center, I think, is actually what the policy says, but
Okay, so I guess part of the question though is, while you're coordinating with law enforcement, were you able to, I guess, check off the items on the checklist or something else?
not right away. I had a deputy warden, I had staff that know how to do it. You just go down a list. So, I had asked Luke Weber when I got there, is a checklist going? He said, yes, there were some things that they missed, he said, so I assigned it to Captain Hinton. He said, I told him to go into a room and just do that strictly. So to my knowledge, that was taken care of. That was a capable captain that knows how to follow direction. He was given the direction from the deputy warden.
I'm sorry, did you say, are we talking about Captain Boudry?
No, this is into first shift. So it was Captain Hinton, his name is Hinton, who was assigned to make sure that notifications had been made. And if not, he was to do so, and that was given to him by Deputy Warden Weber.
Do you know who was the PIO during the escape?
Normally it was I think initially it was our HR director. And I can't remember now if we switched it to Mr. Fuchs or Kevin Garceau was there, a deputy warden from another institution. I'm not sure what his role was. I can't remember.
Okay. Now, was there an investigation into the escape itself?
Yes.
Okay, and that's separate from the disciplinary investigations, right?
Well, when you're looking at an incident or an escape and you see some things that could be potential work rule violations, things people didn't do right, you start these investigations. But there was also, I believe the administration wanted somebody to look at the after action, what could be done better in the future.
Did you participate in that?
No. I wasn't allowed to. Normally a warden is, because it's important that I give, input on what was going on in the institution, but I was taken out of that step.
Well, what do you mean you weren't allowed to?
I believe it was assigned to Kevin Garceau to do the after action plan, so I anticipated he would be calling me. We would be talking about everything I've learned, and it was my institution, what I saw, but I was never contacted. I was never asked for input. I was never part of the meetings of that.
Well, were you excluded from those meetings?
Yes,
How do you know that?
because I wasn't invited.
Were you employed at that time?
Yeah, when it started, I don't know when they finished it, but I was there when it was started.
Okay. And who was this person that was working on the after action report?
He was a deputy warden.
At what institution?
I believe Jackson Correctional. He was brought over, he's friends with Larry Fuchs. He was brought over. Larry advocated for him to come because I didn't understand why he was there. I didn't feel we needed more people that weren't going to be actively assisting and helping. And I remember Larry told me he got it okayed by MACTA and he was allowed to come.
Okay. So, as far as you understand, Makta and Mr. Fuchs picked this investigator that didn't consult you in any way, right?
Right.
Okay. And again, you're the appointing authority for the institution, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And this is before you were investigated?
Yes.
Okay. Did Larry say anything else at that time, or Mr. Fuchs?
I peeked my head in the conference room a couple times. I know Kevin Garceau was sitting there on Facebook. I called Larry aside. I said, what's going on? What's he doing? What's going on here? But again, I was busy and then I go back to my office. I don't remember talking to Larry at all. All he would come and ask is questions that Makta wanted to know about different aspects of the escape.
Well, so Mr. Fuchs is working at the Columbia after the escape?
Well, they brought him in the day of the escape, and he was there for weeks. He was there when I got walked out. He was still coming every day.
Okay, and then he's the guy who is now the warden of Columbia, right?
Yes,
And you're not, right?
yes.
Okay. So, do you believe that Luke Weber was questioned for this after action report?
I wouldn't believe so.
Based on your knowledge and understanding of action reports, how would it be possible to complete an after action report without consulting the warden?
I have no idea.
Okay. So who initiated the after action report, if you know?
I don't know. It was a common practice when you had like an inmate death or you had anything that was a significant event that you would do an after action. I believe it's in policy. I don't know, somebody officially initiated this and who it was. I don't know.
Okay. But was it above your level?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Cross, it's about 4:09, and I'm not
I'm
ready to
ready
stop
for a
now.
pause.
Huh?
I'm ready. Let's do it. Let's stop.
Well, I don't necessarily want to. I want to get as much done as possible, but I want to make sure you're aware of if there's a topic you can talk about in the short amount of time we have left, that would be great.
I appreciate it. Okay. I think I can fit the bill.
Okay, good.
So about how long was this after action report being, sorry, how long was the deputy warden that Mr. Fuchs and Miss Fesai had asked to come to investigate? About how long was he there?
The deputy warden, Kevin
Yeah,
Garceau.
Garceau, yeah, thank you.
He came, I bet you, maybe 2 days after the escape, and he was there when I was placed on leave, which was April 29th.
Okay.
I know they relieved him of his duties at Jackson. They told the warden he'd be gone for a while, and he was allowed to come to Columbia.
Okay, I'd like to show this witness page 370 8, please.
Okay, that's still Respondents Exhibit 12.
Yes.
All right, we're on Respondents Exhibit 12. And this begins at page 152 with the title page. And you wanted, what page did you say?
378, please.
All right, is there a beginning page for this so that we, oh, looks like this might be it, no.
The one I have it on is 198, but second.
198 is the beginning page for this?
349 is the beginning page. 349.
All right. 349, Columbia Correctional Institution After Action Review. Okay, and Mr. Garceau's name is spelled Garceau. Okay, go ahead then, please.
Okay. So if we can go down to 351, or after action review security.
Can you see this document, Ms. Novak?
Yes,
And this is something you've seen before?
no,
Okay.
Do you know, based on your knowledge and understanding, do you know what this document is?
well, it says it's the after action review. I'm guessing it's from the escape. It doesn't say that.
Okay, so you haven't seen this before?
No,
You see the date, it's 4/28/2020?
yes,
And was that before or after you separated from the department?
before.
Okay. So while you were the warden, they did not show you, or you never saw this after action report into the escape at your institution. Is that right?
That's right.
And even though it says here that it was completed before you left?
Yes,
Okay. And then in 428, had you been walked out at that point or no?
I was locked out on 4/29.
So the next day?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I guess just briefly here, and I'll turn to another subject that I think I can do shortly is this. Were you ever given any instructions on whether or not or what standard you had to have before you sent somebody a pre-disciplinary notice?
Well, I mean, per the form and per the policy, if you send somebody if you schedule a pre-disciplinary hearing and you send them a notice, you believe that they violated work rules.
Okay.
And yeah, that's the purpose of the pre-disciplinary hearing, is to notify them of what work rules the, I guess, administration feels that you violated.
Okay. And have you been instructed to never complete a pre-disciplinary notice without that belief that the work rules have been violated?
Have I been instructed not to complete it?
I can put that in the positive. Thank you for that. Have you been instructed to only complete a pre-disciplinary form if you believe that the discipline should ensue?
Yes, that's the purpose of the hearing.
Okay. So it's also fair to say that you wouldn't necessarily give somebody a pre-disciplinary form for termination without believing that they could be terminated. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Have you gotten any training on that?
Yes, I've been an investigator doing staff investigations for 20 years.
Oh, okay. And what role did you do those investigations?
As a supervisor at multiple institutions, I was at Red Granite Correctional. I was the chief investigator for all staff investigations, went through me at Red Granite. I was a DOC PREA investigator, which was a special title. Went to training for that. I got sent all over the state to different departments to conduct PREA trainings. So yeah, I've done a lot. And then as a warden and a deputy warden, I've reviewed them. And made those decisions on what work rules need to be included, what's substantiated and what's not.
Okay. So based on that knowledge and understanding, and I guess I want to be clear, were you ever trained to only file a pre-disciplinary report if you thought you had enough to terminate somebody?
Well, you file it when you have enough, when you believe they violated rules. The form says, we believe you violated these rules. And
Okay.
now you have a chance to have a hearing.
Okay. And I think I got that. Based on that knowledge and experience, is there a different methodology that the department uses for investigating wardens as opposed to lower level employees?
I don't believe so.
Okay, so it's the same steps and the same protections as far as you know?
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. Um, so what message, if any, did you receive from the pre-disciplinary letter that you got from NovakTestifies?
Well, that I was going to be charged with these work rule violations and these offenses. And then when I saw that one of the rules was serious misconduct, acts of serious misconduct, gross negligence, That's terminable. That rises the whole thing to another level. I've never been disciplined in my career. And I knew that meant that they didn't have to follow progression.
Okay. And I think we'll have to get into that on another day, but I want to just be clear on based on your knowledge and experience as an investigator, does the term gross misconduct, I mean, is that besides the fact that they don't have to do progression, does that mean anything else?
Judge, I'm going to object to relevance. I think Magda testified earlier that that allegation was not based on gross misconduct.
I don't think I agree with that. I don't know what you're saying. It seems to me that's exactly what she said. She has it in the letter.
Well, she explained that she just quotes the rule in the letter.
Right, but she believed there was gross misconduct, and then she pointed out security issues, I think, if I remember right. Don't really completely recall, so no, overruled.
Okay. So that's, and I just, I think we're at the point of diminishing returns here, but I want to get that just clarity on that point there, which is there so gross misconduct, I get it that says I don't have to use progressive discipline as a appointing authority. I can go straight to termination, right? Is there any other implications from gross misconduct?
Yes, it's the most serious thing you could be written up for ever, and it often, most of the time, comes with the termination, in my
Okay.
experience.
Okay, and again, that's based on many years of being an investigator, right?
Yes.
Okay. And can you give us some examples of misconduct that you're aware of that rose to the level of gross misconduct, or at least is alleged to rise to that level?
You mean any examples?
Sure, I'm sure we don't want to sit here all day, but I'd like to get a sense
Can
of
we
what.
narrow it to her knowledge of when she's charged somebody with gross misconduct?
Right, and as an
that?
investigator, right? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, if there was any substantiated PREA claims, any fraternization, bringing drugs into the institution, criminal offenses that you would commit outside the institution or in, I guess. High level
Okay.
offenses.
Great. Okay, and I want to just compare. Were you aware of an escape that happened at Green Bay at any time?
Yes, I heard about it.
Okay, and did you understand whether or not there was any dummies that were used to trick the guards?
Yes.
Okay, and did you understand whether or not there was any discipline issued to those guards?
I
Lacks
believe
personal
so.
knowledge.
I wouldn't imagine that's personal knowledge, and I know you're going to say here, gossip here, so let's just be clear about that. Did you learn about that personally, whether or not they had received any, or whether they had received any discipline?
I learned about it, yes. Yeah. I heard about it when it happened, I believe, and I heard about it during my ordeal because other wardens had reached out to me.
Okay. And
Just a few minutes, Mr.
okay, well then let's end it there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so then we will come back, and how much more do you think you have, Mr.?
I don't think very much. I mean, hopefully we'll be done by noon, I think at this rate.
Okay. I mean, you're going to be done well before noon, correct?
Right, I think the case will be rested and he will have cross-examined. I don't know how long he's going to cross-examine, but yes, we'll be done before noon.
Okay, and do you have some idea of how long of an examination you have, Mr. Novak?
It sort of depends on how the rest of the testimony goes, but I would guess an hour, maybe a little more.
Okay, so then if we can plan to have whoever you think you're going to need, again, I don't need to hear the same people over again. So please, let's not have the same people come back to testify, and that's absolutely necessary, okay?
Are we trying to get this done on Thursday?
I would like it to be done, Thursday would be fabulous, but I would certainly like it to be done by Friday, as I said,
Oh,
in
okay,
more than
okay.
one time to you in my emails that
No,
I
and
sent.
that seems doable from my point of view. Put it another way, I don't see any point in starting earlier than 9 to get that done. Does that seem
Correct.
fair,
I'm
Mr.
not planning to
Mullenberg?
start earlier than 9. I mean, it's long enough. But
Okay.
Mr. Mullenbeck said he's flexible with going a little bit later on Thursday and Friday if we need to. So hopefully that will be enough for us to be done at that time. Otherwise, we still do have next week scheduled, but I do hope to be done by Friday. And Mr.
Sounds like a
Mullenbeck,
threat, Judge, but yeah, okay, let's do it. Friday.
Mr. Mullenbeck,
Yes.
did you have something?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No? Okay. All right. Well, thank you both very much. And thank you, Ms. Novak. It's been a long time. And Ms. Reniker, who we don't see, but I appreciate all your work in the background. All right. Thank you and have a good night. And we'll see you on Thursday at 9 o'clock. Have a good day.
You too.
Thank you, goodbye.
Thank you.
Stop recording.